Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Wednesday encouragement. Hope your week is going great. We're going to get to our devotional thought in just a moment, but I want to remind you of our special services on Christmas weekend. Friday, December 23rd, we're having our Christmas Eve service. This is going to be a special time of worship as we begin the weekend. And then on Sunday, Christmas morning, we're going to have a family worship service together. We won't have our regular classes during the 9 o'clock hour or our children's classes that morning. We're all going to worship together in a family worship service at 10 o'clock. And we're looking forward to celebrating the birth of Christ together on Christmas morning. And I hope you'll be able to join us for that. Well, a couple of days ago, I was meeting my son and one of his roommates to have kind of a final goodbye meal at Anna's Pizza, which is a local restaurant that's closing in a few days, unfortunately. And as I walked in, out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a big group having lunch there, but I was focused on finding my son's table, so I locked in on him and I went and sat down with my back being to this group. And after we finished eating and I got up to leave, I turned around and I saw it was a group of folks from church. And I went over and I said hi, and I felt really bad that I hadn't even noticed them when I first walked in. Thankfully, they're not the types to get insulted easily. You ever get like that, where you have tunnel vision? You get so locked in on one thing that you become oblivious to everything else around you? Or do you ever feel like the one who's overlooked? Maybe you've worked quietly, serving behind the scenes for years, and others get thanked and recognized and appreciated, but nobody thinks to say anything about the work you've put in. And even though that's not the reason you do it, it still kind of hurts to be overlooked. Maybe you're an introvert, and so you're not the one people notice when you walk into a room. Or when you say something, louder voices seem to drown out your voice. But in Matthew chapter 6, Jesus says something while talking about our motives for doing the things that we do, things such as praying and giving. And it has implications for other situations too. He says in verse 4, "Then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you." Now, the specific context of that verse is Jesus talking about doing your giving in such a way that attention is drawn to you. But he mentions that God sees what is done in secret. And I think there's a lot of encouragement in that almost parenthetical statement that Jesus made here. It means that if you're serving and nobody seems to notice or care, that God notices and he cares. It means that if other people overlook you, God doesn't. It means that if others' voices drown yours out, God still hears you loud and clear. In the Christmas story, the shepherds were the overlooked group in the first century's culture. They were the rock bottom rung of the social ladder. But who did God choose to reveal the birth of his son to? It wasn't royalty. It wasn't the famous or the politically connected. It was grimy, smelly, blue-collar shepherds working out in the middle of nowhere. They might have felt like they were ignored and overlooked, but the God who sees what is done in secret saw them and honored them by allowing them to be the first to see the Messiah who had been anticipated for so long. So when you get to feeling like your contributions are overlooked and unappreciated, remember that God sees it all. And your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you.